Hello everyone, Rare Model Reviews here, and today we have a bit of a different unboxing here. You know, I like to kind of switch it up every now and then. So we're actually going to save this for a second, and we're going to go take a look at this thing here. Now this is actually something I picked up on my way back from grabbing something to eat. I went ahead and swung by Barnes & Nobles. It's right next door to the place I went to eat at, and I go look in there from time to time just to see what's going on, because I know they tend to have a lot of anime-related stuff, Gundam included, of course. So, I believe I've seen something on this G-frame stuff before, but I'm not 100% sure. But regardless, it looked interesting enough for me to go ahead and take a look at. So basically what this is it's sort of kind of like real grades, how they have like this little pre-made skeleton as you see here, and then you just kind of build stuff over. Of course, this is more of an action figure than a model kit, so the stuff you build over it is a lot more simpler. But this thing honestly had enough accessories to it that I decided to pick it up. I'm actually glad I looked at the side here because I was curious about the Quattro version of the Rick Diaz. I don't know what's going on here with this Vegeta stuff I keep seeing. I don't know if this is just somebody who does not do their homework when they're translating this thing from Japan, but it's Vegeta, not Vagina. There's a lot of memes about the whole Vegeta English thing that you see a lot of times, so I really wanted to point that out. But yeah, that's really about it. Front and back more or less look the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this thing up. I don't know if I'll damage this box too much doing it. So I figure I'm not gonna be looking at this thing when I do the review, so I might as well go open it up and stick it to the side. So, okay, this is interesting. I actually expected the see more of the frame. This thing already has the chest and the waist put on there. It looks like the head you put on, arms. So this thing's a lot more assembled than I expected. There's more bags in here. So this is gonna be more of the accessories by the looks of it, and the side armor and whatnot. It has some stuff for the legs as well, actually. Oh wow, no, this thing actually interesting. Okay, now this thing does have some runners and stuff. So no, this technically kind of is a bit of a model kit then. Very interesting. Okay. So actually, I'm gonna have to get my hands dirty here a little bit. I wonder if it's one of those runners where you can basically just what I was about to say, kind of unattach things with just your fingers. And this thing looks like it's gonna need some painting because I'm looking at an all black beam saber. Oh, that's funny. I haven't seen one of those in a while. But yeah, that's everything in a box there. So I might have to spend a little bit of time after this review to go ahead and piece this together, because then now this thing's really got me intrigued that you actually have some building to do with it. But moving on to the standard here, we have another premium unboxing here. So starters are going to look at the little insert that came with it. So this is going to be the 20th anniversary, 20th anniversary version, bit of a tongue twister there, for the Strict Freedom and Infinite Justice. So basically these came out, I'm guessing 20 years ago, judging by that. I don't know if maybe the 20-year anniversary has to do with the anime. Anime would have been about 20 years old by now. But from what I was told, these things been had metal versions of them. It's just like a, again, as it says, anniversary edition, which gives them a bit more of a vibrant color scheme, if I'm not mistaken. And this, of course, is just telling you what they have going on at P Bandai. So I'll admit the Stormbreaker here is tempting. I know that is a, if I'm not mistaken, a Gundam Builders kit that didn't make it into Master Grade form or whatever. Gem Spark, I'm not sure about either. But yeah, those things definitely are tempting, to say the least. I'm not going to speak on the others there, but I can say that one of those there I do have coming soon, so I'll leave you guys to guess which one of those that is. So getting on to it here, we have the Psychodoga. This is, of course, the P Bandai exclusive. And I always love when I see my P Bandai kits here without the monochromatic color screen, because that always tells me they probably last minute said, you know what, let's make this P Bandai. So I can already tell from more recent releases that I've gotten from P Bandai, they still do the monochromatic color scheme for the box art here. So Very shady if that's the case, that if a Bandai decides to make this a P-Band instead of a standard release. Now, I'm interested about this Gundam Side F Space Connie thing, so in the comments below, if you guys know what that's about, please let me know. So for you, what is wrong with me today? So for those of you who do not know, the Psychodoga is basically Gyaradoga, but it has funnels. If you can see on the shoulders there, that's the funnels. But one interesting thing about this kit in particular is this thing is kind of a Frankenstein mashup of a bunch of different Gyaradoga types put into one. If I'm not mistaken, there's the Gyaradoga Kai and then the actual Gyaradoga that kind of combined into this weird design here. So it's very strange that you did that. So they have this weird little thing here you can do with the face. It looks like it could fold down. Maybe it's just from an alternate angle they're showing that makes it so you can't see the face. Very interesting. So of course I will kind of put that on the screen for a second for you guys to go ahead and read that. It's telling you that one eye can move, so that's cool. Of course, just brag about how detailed this thing is, how articulated it is. And overall, the color scheme for this thing is very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the original Psychodoga was just supposed to be in a standard green you see for a lot of these things. But as you can see here, this thing actually has a unique white color scheme, which looks really cool. Has that nice beam axe like you see on the standard Gyaradoga, the various effects to make it a beam saber or axe. I'm going to assume that there's going to be separate funnel accessories, and this thing will not be able to fold them out on its own, so that's a little disappointing. So it looks like this Gundam Side F is like a theme park here, and what is it? Fukuoka? My apologies if I just butchered that. So again, I'll just kind of leave that on the screen there for you guys to read yourselves. So we of course are going to go ahead and open this baby up and see what we have inside. Alright. So first up we have what appears to be the F plate. So some nice mix of yellows and that whitish, grayish color scheme there. Can't tell what this is. Looks like G1. That's a nice thing. He has 3 stickers. Looks like one for the gun there, or should I say rifle. One for that little decal on the forehead and the model eye. These parts look like they make up the legs and the back of the shield. So next up we have more of these. See, now I'm interested what these little parts here are. I didn't see anything from the kit that resembled that. I don't know if that's like one of those old school things they used to kind of do, the parts holder type things. But those usually used to be on the runner itself, not actually, you know, a part of, a part on the runner. Of course, you can see that's going to be for the rifle. Although looking at that, looks like we might be able to build 2 different rifles. So it's not like it's all part of one rifle. Be a very big rifle if that's the case. What's that just look like? Little inner detail parts for the suit itself. This is a very interesting green looking color here. This also looks like it's for a rifle though. It doesn't look like it's the beam saber, so I thought that was a second, but that's way too big. So this thing might have 2 or 3 different rifles on it. I'm gonna assume most of that's probably from this thing reusing parts. So as I said before, yep, this thing has the unopened and open funnels. I feel like they also might reuse pieces. Like I wouldn't be surprised those are exact same funnels from, like, let's say the high grade Sazabi, which I did review on my channel, by the way. Check that out if you're interested in it. Might be a good thing to reference for when we build this thing. We have some red pieces here. I'm gonna assume those are for our missiles that these things have in the shields. Beam saber effect parts. So it's very interesting to have those on this runner itself instead of a separate runner. Especially seeing as I'm sure those beam saber effect, or I'm sorry, beam axe effect parts are probably gonna be reused from the original Gyaradoga release who knows how long ago. So there's going to be the other funnel parts. Wait, that was on the A plate. And then we have the C plate here, as well as, I'm going to assume, yep, B plate. It's going to be for the shield. And this thing has, this appears to be the original Gyaradoga shield. Looks like maybe even some parts for the original head. We'll see if that's the case or not. This thing has a more rounded head, whereas the one this is supposed to have more, dare I say, flattish. So yeah, this is definitely using some of the Gyaradoga parts here. So this thing definitely is not all original. which I surprisingly did not expect. I probably should have though. One thing I did expect is going to be this manual. So of course we're using the same old manual we always use with these things. Oh, this thing is actually 2022, so this must be a second run of this thing. So this thing, of course, using the bland manuals they do with a lot of these P Bandai kits where they're so lazy they don't even bother giving us an actual colored front page or any of that extra stuff you see in a typical release, which I really hate because this is premium. The P stands for premium. So how do we have these lazy manuals here? They might have to rename their website if, you know, they're not going to give us a whole premium experience in this thing. Call it exclusive Bandai, maybe, you know, you're getting exclusive kits and whatnot from the site, but, you know, I wouldn't quite say premium if they can't even have a proper manual with these things. More of these straight to the point manuals. But that little round aside, of course, is a high grade, so you can have a pretty standard build with this thing, nothing too complicated. Those little wings we see at the last page look complicated, but they really weren't. Just big, really. Just that they look as maybe 4 parts you slap together. This thing is using polycaps. That's one thing I'm starting to notice. It's like they're kind of starting to backtrack and go and use polycaps to get kind of out of that phase of the no polycap builds, at least with high grades, that we were starting to get into for a second, then it quickly died out of. But assume polycaps are just cheaper to use. Then again, this thing does seem like it can use a lot of parts from the original Gyaradoga or something, so maybe that's why we're using polycaps. But regardless, as long as this thing has a relatively stiff build, doesn't loosen up too quick over time, I won't complain about the fact that I use polycaps. For the most part, I'd say polycaps have been good to me. It's just the bigger kits that use polycaps that you start to run into issues, hence why master grades typically don't use polycaps, at least not anymore. So of course we're seeing how do you move that mono, so you gotta move the front faceplate to do so, which is not too surprising. And it looks like, yep, those funnels are just one piece. You'll find an H1 and H2 runners. And as you can see, there are a lot of excess. So yeah, this thing's not gonna tell you how to build a lot of that extra stuff. As I said, this is most likely a lot of stuff used over from the original Gyaradoga. So I might end up looking the original manual up and seeing what I can build based off the extra parts we have here. Go ahead and put everything back in the box. And we are going to go ahead and end this little unboxing right there. So I am probably, as I said, I'm gonna go ahead and bang out this thing here, which is very surprising that it's gonna take some actual, some snipping out of the runners we have here to build. But once I knock this out, this will be able to be done in half an hour or less easily. I'll go ahead and build this thing up, and hopefully I'll be able to have a review this thing out next week. Maybe I might do this next week. As always with these unboxings, like I said, I'd like to leave it up to you guys. Let me know what the heck you want to see me build first. Also want to mention this thing has the red label, so this must be an older release. I wonder if they even still make these G-frames. I recall hearing about these, but I don't hear anything about them anymore, so I'm going to assume these were a flop and they stopped making them. Maybe they kind of dropped these in favor of the new Gundam Universe things, which so far I'm not much a fan of. I can also tell you guys, I seen one of the Gundam Universe Leos. I almost got one of them, but then last second I said no. Because I just looked at the actual figure himself. I'm like, this thing looks kind of crappy. I wouldn't be proud to have this on my shelf. So I just ended to try this thing out to see what it was like. And hopefully I enjoy it. The fact that it has a good amount of accessories bodes well for it, though, I can say that much. Kind of a little peeved about that beam saber, but I'll probably end up coloring that thing in yellow. I believe was Rick Diaz's beam saber color before the review. Just it looks a little more dolled up. But I can't think of really anything else to say here at this point. So as usual, I end this thing off with the usual spiel. This has been Rare Model Reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next review.